MMA fans, welcome back to Carlo Prusa MMA. Today, I have a special guest. I have a professional mixed martial artist who is going to do battle on August 27th, the Dana White Contender Series. He is the Texas kid. He is Mr. Michael Aswell. Michael, we're only a couple weeks away from the contest now. I'm sure you've been waiting very patiently to get in there, get your crack here, try to get in the UFC. Taking on a tough guy in Bogdan Grad, guy who's been to the UFC, or not been to the UFC, but has been to the Contender Series before. Didn't go his way. He's getting a rare second chance. What's the mindset like knowing that, man, you're only about 3 weeks out from doing this?
Yeah, mindset is I'm ready to go. I've been ready to go every week. I've been telling my manager if, someone were to fall off or someone were to get injured, I'll be ready. So I've been ready every week. I'm ready for this opportunity and I'm just glad that, it's an official, have a date. I got somewhere to be and someone to fight and for a chance to, make my dreams, reality.
So you could do anything in this world, and you chose to get into combat sports. What made you want to do this for a living, my friend?
Yeah, I think my coach used to say, fighting kind of finds you. You don't really find fighting, and I never really thought I was gonna fight my whole life. I played a lot of sports growing up, and I was very, athletic, and I did very well in every sport that I did. Because I worked, so hard at what I did, and I got invited to do some jujitsu, and I really liked it and kind of stopped. I started wrestling in high school, and after wrestling, I kind of went back to the jujitsu gym so it could help my wrestling a little bit. And my coach pulled me to the side one time. He seen me training the beginners, Muay Thai class and jiu-jitsu class, and just, he told me that I could be a champion, that he sees something special in me. And I was a little bigger at the time. I was probably like 210, 215. Playing football, I was bulking up, and so he was like, if you cut the weight, if you get down to 145 pounds, I'll let you fight for me. And I always like a challenge, and I thought that was, he really did see something in me, and I knew that I was always destined to be great. Um, so I said, sounds good, and I cut all the weight, and I had my first fight when I was 17. So I cut down from like 210 to 145, and I lost my first AMI fight. And after that, it was kind of just like, yeah, this. I think this is what I want to do, and definitely never want to feel like I fell after that first loss. But it just felt something felt right. It felt like this is what I was meant to do, or it's the calling that I was, I guess, waiting for, or you know, hoping for, I guess.
Now you had, I believe, 6 amateur fights. What was the discussion like with you and your coaches that moment that you guys were like, you know what, let's turn pro?
Yeah, COVID kind of forced the hand a little bit. I was gonna have my amateur, like another amateur fight, and they said they weren't gonna do amateur fights, during COVID. That only professional fights were gonna be allowed at the time. If not, I'd have to wait another 6 months. And when I would sell tickets, I would always have them pre-sold in advance, so I would have the tickets sold, 3 months before the event even started. So we had a bunch of tickets that were already sold, and we're talked to my coach, and my coach thought I was ready, and he said, let's do it. There's no, it's your time and no more time to wait. It's time to get after it. And so we turned pro, and it was just same old thing, just go in there and have some fun and do what I do and fight my fight. So it was a pretty big goal that I accomplished too. A lot of the goals that I've had for myself, we kind of been marking them off little by little. And I remember one of my biggest one was to have a professional fight before I was 21, and I had two. So I was kind of felt like I was almost on the right track. That everything that I've been saying I wanted to do and accomplish have been going to plan.
No, it's really amazing when you look at mixed martial arts as a whole. I think very few people realize, right now it is, everyone realizes now it's the biggest thing ever. So much money's in it. It's very accepted. 15, 20 years ago, man, this stuff was the wild, wild west, man. It wasn't legal everywhere. People thought it was criminal activity. And,
Yeah.
I think one of the big byproducts we're seeing from the evolution is, fighters like yourself, you're 23 years old. You're about to go into the UFC, or about to at least fight for that opportunity to go in the UFC. 15, 20 years ago, man, guys in their 30s were making their debuts, and now it's just getting younger and younger. The skill level has improved so much. Kids at a young age are starting to train in jiu-jitsu. They're watching it with their parents. It's so culturally accepted. Do you feel like maybe that evolution has helped you get into it and helped you maybe I wouldn't say fast track, but get you a chance to go to the UFC at 23 years old?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I think, I guess when I really started watching like heavily, I guess was really like the Conor McGregor era, when he was coming up, and I was like, I was watching a little bit more, and I was like, I really like this guy. And, then I started fighting. And then once I started fighting, I was really, watching all that. But that's when all that, Aldo stuff, when he knocked out Aldo, and I was like, oh, this guy is, crazy. But I guess for me, it just all I've focused on training was MMA. I feel like sometimes a wrestler would just only train wrestling for a long period of time, and then try to transition in MMA, and it gets a little weird, because then they gotta like learn a complete new boxing style and stuff. And I think me coming from the legendary coach that I did, and having the foundation of his teachings, because he was around. He's, pretty much started the MMA scene in Houston and really got it big, and promotions in Houston. And, he trained Tito and Rico Rodriguez, a lot of, all those big, Mark Coleman, all when the UFC was just getting started. He was one of the OGs in the game. So, having him by my side and really, breaking down what's important, in this MMA game, and, showing me his teachings and allowing me to grow, and just seeing something in me, and we just had a really good connection. And you know yeah, I mean, the younger is always the better. I feel like, I feel like I started young, but there's still kids that have been doing this since they're 6 years old and 7 years old. And, by the time they're, 15, 16, they're already ready to fight, and already have so much years and knowledge, and, they're brown, purple belts. So, sometimes I feel like I'm a little behind, but I'm definitely more, advanced and ahead than most. I think I'm in a good spot in my life, and I'm, happy, and that my career has gone the way it has. I know a lot of people go through a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of, losses, and they got to fix their records. So I'm just, happy where I'm at, and happy to be able to get the opportunity, and to see that my work has been seen. And now it's like, okay, we see you, here's your opportunity, and let's see what you do with it.
I definitely think that you are definitely above the curve when it comes to most people trying to get into the UFC here, obviously. But when you look at a lot of time, I don't know who you say is the greatest of all time. My opinion is John Jones.
Right.
You're 23, about to fight for a chance in the Contender Series. He was 23, beating Shogun Rua, winning titles, becoming
Right.
when you look at that, is it just crazy? Because you know what it's like. I mean, you start turning pro before you're even 21. Is it kind of unfathomable to even think how that guy progressed that fast?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And and he was a little right after the, just getting started, kind of before MMA was a big thing. He was right in that middle piece where, you know, there wasn't a lot of guys. Now it's harder nowadays because there's just so many guys, there's so many people that you could pick a pull from. You can get a handful of guys in every division from anywhere, all over the world, and throw them in there. At that time it was, not many people. He was kind of skipping the line, and getting the opportunity to fight, guys, and he was capitalizing on it. And that's all this game is just making sure to capitalize on the opportunities that are, presents itself, because they're not going to come that many times. So um it's awesome to be able, nowadays, to have an opportunity to have an interview with the UFC. It's hard. Back in the day, it was almost kind of cherry picking, kind of trying to find people who, wanted to fight, or were fighting, or were doing this as a sport. It just wasn't a big thing at the time. But I mean, I could see myself. I mean, a buddy of mine's 22 in the UFC, Josh Van, and he's 3-1, and he's 22 years old. And I'm just like, man, that's, I thought I was young, and I thought I was, getting in there. So the game is definitely evolving. And yeah, I mean, I believe that, if I was in there, I'd be having the same goals, trying to be the youngest to do it. Because, if John Jones could do it, I'm not saying it's not impossible. Someone's gonna break that record. Records are meant to be broken. And who knows when it's gonna happen, or if it's gonna happen soon or not. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see.
You alluded a little earlier to your coach, obviously, Mr. Daniel Pineda, a guy who's been around forever, guy who's definitely left his impact in the sport. How did you first connect with him?
So me and Daniel have just recently connected in November, and my coach, Sauce Solis, was the first MMA coach I ever had. Kind of my only coach I've ever had for MMA, and we were together. We started. I was like 13, 14 when I first walked into the jiu-jitsu gym, and I, did jiu-jitsu and kind of left. And we kind of reconnected probably maybe a year or two after when I was like 15, 16, and that's when I started wrestling, and I started making the transition over from, well, maybe I'm not big enough or fast enough to play football. I'm gonna try this wrestling MMA stuff out, and see where I fit and how I fit. And I would skip class sometimes, or if I had a free period during school or during lunch, I would leave and I'd go get sessions with Coach Saul, get one-on-ones and just kind of soak in all the information that I could. And we just talked a lot of, I just sat there and just listened to really a lot of the times. And he would just tell me stories of, pride and being in Japan and flying all over the world and, bringing me in. And we just had such a good relationship. He was always there for me and anything I needed and anything he would ask from me. It's like his word was law to me. He would tell me every day, this is what you need to do: 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, a lot of old school stuff. Always running 3 miles a day. You need to be running, 21 minutes, 3 miles every day. This is what you need to be doing. And he really gave me the foundation to be able to be where I am today, to be great. And when he passed during COVID, I was kind of lost almost, just trying to find, where I should go, where I should be. And, I ended up in Kansas City, Missouri training, and I liked it. And then they had the whole gambling scandal go down over there. And I was like, well, I guess I can't really stay there, or, so I kind of went back home, was going through a couple different gyms, and ended up fighting, while I was just, I was training. I was like, might as well fight. And, ended up losing that fight and was like, okay, well, I really need to figure out where I need to be or my calling. And happened going to, I went to 4 Ounce Fight Club, and that's where, and I've always known Daniel, you're from Houston, around Houston fighters. And I just, and I've been trained there a couple of times, and I just remember going there and telling them like, hey, this is where I want to be. And I'm not trying to be here just a couple of times and training in a couple of different gyms. Like, I'm all in or I'm not, so I told him this is where I want to be, and this is where I want to train full time. And he just accepted me as family. And from there, since November, my past two fights against Altum and Richardson have been with Daniel and Fornats, and they really evolved my game and really taught me, things that I might have been lacking and things that I was searching for and that I needed. And I mean, if you know Daniel, he's a dog. I mean, if you've seen his last fight or just any of his fights in general, like he really pushed me to have that mindset, that dog, killed or be killed mindset. And, something I was maybe lacking from my last couple fights. I needed a couple more finishes, and there's no better guy to get finishes from than Daniel Pineda, who's got, 30 wins, 30 finishes, So, yeah, that's kind of how we all met up.
You definitely been killing it on the regional scene. You've been doing some great things over with Fury FC, on a good two-fight win streak, but dominating fashion. That
Right.
last one I want to break down with you a little bit, that Nate Richardson win.
Mm-hmm.
First round, you got the job done easy, defended the title.
Yeah.
Walk me through that, the punches. Walk me through the closing points. When did you notice, hey, maybe I could take this guy out here?
Yeah, I mean, Nate's a world-renowned striker. He comes from Glory Kickboxer, and a lot of people, we're thinking that we're gonna go on the ground and we're gonna, that's where I was gonna probably win on the ground, or I was just gonna edge him out in a decision. And I knew going into that fight that I needed to win, and I needed not just to win, but I needed to finish, especially if I want to go to where I'm trying to get to. It's one thing to to have a good fight and, have a good decision. But this guy, finishing a guy who's really never been finished, a guy who beat Diego, I knew that, I'd really make a statement by knocking him out. So, I mean, I was just trying to find my range and my rhythm, my flow kind of in the first round. And it was quick. I kind of found the range and the timing. He landed a couple body shots. He landed a leg kick, but I felt my jab was good. My jab was on point. It was landing. It was smooth, and I kind of established my range. I was coming forward, do a couple feints, do a feint, jab, feint, then through the 1-2 right after. And he almost kind of walked into it. He kind of he tried, instead of going away from the power hand, he kind of moved left and was still in range. And once the two connected, he kind of fell. And the thing with Nate is he's tough, and he's been dropped a couple times and survived, and even has come back and won. So I knew I just had to pick my shots correctly, and was just kind of finding my shots, and the right little uppercut landed while he was on the ground, and that was kind of it. It was pretty quick, and it happened real fast. I was just glad that I was able to, stay calm in the situation and,
Following
finish the
that
job.
win, did you feel like that was enough to get you on the contender?
I mean, my manager told me already that, you win that fight, that you're gonna get the call up. Almost all the Fury, 45 champs that have won the belt have been called up and, doing okay in the UFC. So I definitely knew there was gonna be an opportunity for me, and they told me already in advance. So I knew once I knocked him out that it was almost a shoe in that I was gonna be in there.
Now, where were you when you got the phone call that you were going to be on the Contender Series?
I was driving home from practice. I was in my car, and my manager, FaceTimed me, and then the promoter of Fury, also FaceTimed me. So I kind of felt something was up. So I just, whenever I got to a stop, I called them back, and they were in Vegas together, and they told me that, I got I got the call on that I'm going to be in, and they were sending me names, telling me who was going to be. I said, sounds good. I just need the contract. And so whenever I got the contract, that's when it really set in. I really felt that, oh, this is serious now. Signed my name on it and sent it back. I said, okay, well, now we're serious. Now it's going to happen.
I think very few people realize the rise to becoming a pro fighter, the rise to getting in the UFC is a grueling battle. There's a lot of sacrifices needing to be made to get there. Some guys are unfortunate enough where they can just train full time. They have 40-hour jobs. They do this on the side. People with families, kids, wives, etc. You have to kind of put all that to the side. You have to get punched in the face. You have to train hard for hours and hours every single day, take all these shows, make little money in the regional scene to try to chase the dream. What has made you stay motivated and positive throughout this whole time and just kept going to get here?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think for me, I'm fortunate the most. Like you said, a lot of people have jobs, families, and kids, and I've been doing this since I was a kid. And when you're a kid, your parents take care of a lot of things. So I'm 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm still, a young kid. I'm in college and going to school. So, for me, having just to go to school and train is a blessing. It's not many responsibilities I need to worry about. Maybe just keeping my grades up, and that's it. But for me, I've been able to excel and almost get better exponentially quicker than most. I feel like, just because all I've really had to worry about is train. And even during school, I would miss school to train, and it's like the only thing on my mind would be training. And I think the motivation for me is just knowing that that I have greatness inside of me, and knowing that I can achieve it if I just put my mind to it and work hard. And a lot of the goals that me and my coach set before he passed, they're still on my mind. This is what we're going to get done. This is what he told me that we're going to do. And he almost laid out the blueprint, and he told me this is how we're going to do it, and this is what we need to do to get there. And I feel like it's just motivating to fulfill what we laid out together, and to get it done. And we didn't get to finish everything that we wanted to lay out, but he set out the foundation up to this point. And it's just motivating to see that the work that I'm putting in is paying off. And the goals that I've been setting have been checked off. So it's been fairly smooth, and I've been fortunate and blessed, because my coach used to tell me the only thing that's going to stop you from you is, life, and you just never know what life's going to throw at you or what's going to happen. And I've been fortunate enough to, have a good life, and just worry about training, and, taking care of my family as much as I can. And, I've been blessed and trying to finish school, so, I'm pretty grateful.
That's an interesting point you just mentioned. I value education very seriously. I graduated in the summer with a doctorate degree. I feel like
Nice.
education is very important. And, when you see guys with the trajectory to get to the UFC, sometimes, the education kind of falls on the wayside. I'll do it if I have to. I can always come back to it. Why do
Right.
you feel like it's important to, on this rise, also do that?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's very important. I've been going to, private schools. Just, I've always learned that the power of education is so important. You know what you know, and understanding certain situations that you wouldn't know before. And like I said, some people's lives, you know, they have to work and they have to, you know, take care of this or that. You know, for me, I've been fortunate enough to just have to pick school and just, hey, go to school and train. And it's been pretty beneficial. And I think that with the degree, especially nowadays, there's a lot of things that you could, you know, get done on the side, or something, a little hustle, something that you didn't know that you could do or needed. And it's just, especially nowadays, it's just a big um, positive to have. And, you know, it's definitely not a negative. And it's something that you could say that you started and that you finished, you know, full and full. And my family's always thought it was, you know, important for me to finish school. And, you know, I value school, and I think it's important too. It's just, you know, with the timing, just having to get everything right. I've been having to take less hours, especially as, you know, the fighting's gotten more serious. And especially the past, you know, year or two, I've had to take less classes just to train a little bit more and focus more. But I mean, the goal is definitely to, you know, finish school, and I can build businesses on top of, you know, fighting, and, you know, go outside of just the fighting world and being able to, you know, set myself up for life and, you know, my future family's life. You know, that's the whole goal, I feel like.
What would it mean to you to get that contract in a couple of weeks and become a UFC fighter?
I mean, it would, I mean, everything. It's my dreams that I've been dreaming about for, you know, 7, 8 years now, just coming into reality, coming into fruition, and just knowing that, you know, no matter what it is, you know, as long as you want it bad enough and you really want it, that you could go and get it, that anything is there for the taking, you know. And I mean, the world, it just mean that I'm changing my life and trying to, you know, push forward and be the best version of myself that I could be. And it's everything that I want, and everything that, you know, it's there for me. It's up to me to go and get it. You know, it's on me. So I'm ready. I've been ready. I've been wanting it. I've been calling out. I've been asking for it for years before I even knew I was ready or was in the position to get it. So, you know, it's time to stop all that talk and stop talking about, you know, give me the call, because it's here now. So it's time to put up or shut up now.
Do you envision every single day Dana telling you got the contract?
Oh yeah. I mean, I vision what I'm gonna say, what, you know, what I'm gonna feel. I mean, I don't know how I'm gonna react in the moment, but, you know, I'm trying to, you know what I want to say, or the message I want to put out. And I see me shake Dana's hand, just telling him that, you know, we're gonna do a lot of good business together. I mean, I see it, I envision it. I envision how I see the fight going. I mean, I see all of it. You know, just visualizing and, you know, manifesting and talking into existence. You know, it's what I've been doing for the past 7 years. And, you know, no reason to stop now. It's been working. It's been feeling good, and just seeing, you know, achieving, and just knowing what you got to do and what you got to accomplish.
So let's get into the fight. You're taking on Bogdan Grad overall. What do you think of him as an opponent?
He's good, man. He's solid. Like you said, he's been there, and there's not many people that get second opportunities or chances. So, you know, I know for him it's gonna be do or die. Like he needs this, right? Like, you know, not many people are getting second chances. So how many people you think are getting third? Not many, you know. So he's a tough guy. He's quick. He's fast. He's big. He's, you know, he's real strong. He's coming down to 45, and like I said, he's been there, so he's got the experience. So he's gonna be a tough guy. He comes forward. I come forward. We're gonna scrap. We're gonna meet in the middle, and we're gonna fight. And may the best man win. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be. They put us to come in for a reason. They can see that our styles are gonna match up well, especially in a fight when not many people watching. It's just gonna be Dana watching for his entertainment. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fast, and it's gonna be exciting. I'll tell you that.
You know, you just touched upon it. Kind of got to my next question here, but your styles fit perfect with each other. I mean, you guys don't move back; you only move forward, and when that
Yeah.
happens, absolute explosions and absolutely fireworks here.
Yeah.
Can you kind of envision either a 3-round dogfight or someone's going to sleep probably within the first round here?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna come out fast. The first round's gonna be fast. It's gonna be quick. So, I mean, my cardio. I feel like I have one of the best cardios in the world. I mean, we're at the world level now. You know, I feel like I could go forever. And so, if we need to go forever, and if we need to go 3 round dogfight, you know, I feel like that's where I even thrive the best. That's where most of my fights have gone and have been. And I've been through those tough rounds. I've been 5 rounds. You know, so if we need to dig deep and go three, three dogfight rounds. That's good, but I just don't see it going that long. I think this fight's gonna go fast and it's gonna be a finish quick. And then one of us is gonna get the contract. And I think it's gonna be me for sure. So it's gonna be a good fight, though. I mean, this guy's tough, man. He's been around. He's fought good dudes, and you know, he ain't gonna be in this position for no reason.
You get to fight in a bit of a different environment than what you're used to. Obviously, you get to fight in the Apex. Not really going to be a lot of fans there. Not really a big crowd. But have you envisioned what that's going to be like? Have you thought of any maybe positives of it, negatives of it? Do you think the communication with the corner is going to be better?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for me, it doesn't really matter, where, when, how many people are there, who's not there. At the end of the day, once that case closes, it's just gonna be me and that Brogdon in there. So that's the only thing. It's definitely gonna be a little different. I've only fought at home in front of fans, in front of my people, so it's gonna be a little more enclosed. It's just gonna be me and my coaches talking. So we're just gonna make sure that we execute the game plan, and yeah, it's definitely gonna be a little different for sure. But I've been there. I was in Jacob Silva's corner, so I kind of have an idea of how they run things. It was a little different with COVID, but I understand how, where they stay, how they run things, kind of how it goes down. And I've been to the Apex for a UFC fight too. So, I kind of get a sense of where you're going to stay, where you're going to do, where you're going to move out, or where you're going to be shaked out and moves and where you're walking through. So it's definitely going to be different with no crowd. But at the end of the day, the fight's still going to be the fight. And once that door closes, it's only going to be me, him in there anyways. I'm not really going to hear too many more, everyone else. So should be cool.
What,
It should be
what
exciting. It should be fun.
what was that experience like a few weeks back going out to Vegas, doing the media stuff, going in the performance into going to the Apex? Did that kind of really reinforce in your head, yeah, this is coming?
Yeah, I mean, it just showed me that the UFC is just the best, and that's why they're the best in the business and they're the best promotion in the world. They just have an elite setup and they know what they're doing. They've done this many of times. They take care of you, so well. And it just showed me and it made me feel that like I'm ready for this and I've been ready for this and I've known that I've always would be ready for this. And it's just a matter of when my time is up and when my time is coming. And, like you said, we're 3 weeks, couple days out before, my time's coming. And I just know that, it's where I was meant to be, and it almost felt like I was at home. Like this is what I do, and this is where I'm gonna be, and this is the company that I want to be with, for my career.
All right, Michael, last question for you, dude. In a
Yeah,
perfect world, what is the outcome when you take on Bogdan Grad August 27th of the Dana White Contender Series?
yeah, perfect world, first round knockout, anything. I mean, any first round finish. That's perfect world, and you almost know when that happens that you're getting that contract, and Dana sees you and he says, "Wow, you took out a good guy in the first round. Like, you deserve to be with this company, and we're gonna give you that contract, and let's go make some good business together." And that's what I see in a perfect world. Me and Dana playing some blackjack at the end after he gives me his contract.
All right, Michael. Well, it was a pleasure talking with you today, man.
Appreciate it.
Definitely, if you do go play some blackjack with Dana and probably the Nelk boys and all that, you got to
Steve
stream
would do it. Definitely need some Steve would do it with us. That would be legendary.
Make sure you're doing your happy dads when you do that too.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of happy dads, I'm sure, after the fight.
All right, man. Well, it was a pleasure talking with you, dude.
Yes,
I wish
sir.
you nothing but the best, and I can't
Thank
wait
you.
to see this fight.
Yeah, me too. I'm ready to go, man. I'm amped, bro.
Well, that's Michael Aswell. I'm Carl Perusa. Stick around.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.